Hi traders, this is Thiago and welcome to Bull Bear Futures channel. Today I'm going to carry out another live transmission. If this is your first time, I once in a while carry out this. My objective here is purely educational. We don't trade, it's not a signal room, okay? Our intention is just to share with you guys the advantage of using order flow tools to mix with your standard technical analysis and how it can give you a competitive edge. Hi Aaron, bom dia, tudo bem? Uh, Good to have you here. Today I spent to I intend to spend here around 1 hour, and let's start as usual by our pre-market studies, where we make a kind of a preparation and define some points we should look at during the transmission. Okay, we're seeing crazy sessions this week. Besides the banking problem, we had also the change of contract. So today we have yesterday we had the volume concentrated, most of it concentrated in the June contract, but on Monday and kind of a bit on Tuesday, liquidity was divided between March settlement, that is tomorrow, the settlement from March contract and June. So it ends up in reducing the amount of contracts in the book. So this week we've seen something that was hard to see, especially we didn't see, especially in the last week, that was prices displacing with huge intensity, 8-10 points with a relevant number of contracts. This makes things really difficult to trade. We are trading in a different region and in a stressed condition. So markets keep shaking. Let's just take a look here. I can leave it here so for a while. If we see here, look at my screen, the chart. We are fighting right at the long-term downtrend line from January 22nd, okay? And this we had we have these 4 sessions here with the highs around 39.76. This is grabbing my attention. We are right at the long-term downtrend line. On January, it's been we had the breakout there. Then it worked at a kind of support. Prices tried a reaction upwards, but then last week we lost it, and we are facing a strong resistance below the previous, around the previous support. So in a downtrend scenario, this is really a problem. This is really, I think, a problem. I mean, it's a problem for buyer for bulls, for bullish ones. Okay, so it was the fourth session we struggling here in the resistance. So this is not that auspicious. We could trace from March 6th. I just traced this downtrend line here that is too steep actually. It was kind of respected yesterday. So the unbalanced volume that I'm frequently telling, it confirms this negative perspective. So we are seeing actually not that good moments for buyers. Okay, in weekly chart we had a kind of uncertainty here. We have the Fibonacci at 39.57. The previous contract it was 39.22. Now it's 57. So we've seen a reaction this week there, but failing to move upward. So I think that this 39.57 and especially 39.40, 38.40 down here, 39.40 down here, 38.40 down here would be really crucial. And losing the 40, we could see things speeding up downwards. Just let me quickly put the here to see we're opening at the 3900, 3900. Okay, let me just see here the reference. I have the 3903, then 95, and we have the point of control in 93 and 8890. Let's see, let's see here this 8890, how it's going to, the case of reaching there, if we're going to be able to hold. But before we have this 9395, could be the first potential support to be tested. Let's see what's going to have. Then 85, 80, 75. This 75, 72, 75 is an important region I would be looking at. We have the support one in value area low right there. So we could see some support right there. Okay. But once in a while, we can take a look here and check. It was interesting yesterday because in the morning, most of the points we have noted here worked as supports or resistance. It does not mean we should anticipate anything, or I would leave a limit order, but it's interesting to see that it worked as reference. We could use it. We could, let's not close here. We could, um, we could use it as reference, maybe sometimes not necessary to enter, but if you're in a trade, we can use them to close, considering the points could work. So the important, I think in this week, it's happening something I'm frequently telling. We should, in my case, I had to adjust my concepts. I use a too tight stop, 2 points. It's too few. Even being precise, it's hard to succeed. And so I'm trying to see some the markets moving too fast. So I'm trying to focus in seeing when it stops and when it pause and there's strong absorptions and aggressions. I confirm this through volumetric bars, and at the same time looking at the range, because in these sessions, even with such a wild condition, it's forming. In the end of the day, you cannot, in the volume profile, it's hard to identify good regions or good ranges. We see big shadows, but during the session, or when the ranges are, the session is running, we see some ranges forming. For example, it's too it's too small here, few contracts so far, but we're seeing a range forming here. We're seeing just a sec. We are seeing some absorptions, so we need to see, to wait and see this other possibilities. But anyway, look here. We usually have here 800, 900 in depth of market. Today, these days we are working with 200, sometimes 200, 300, 400. It's too few. It means that there are few contracts in the book. It does not mean that there's no liquidity. It's just a matter of not having the book. The algorithms keeps trading and keeps working all the time, obviously. But with few contracts here, we can get things shaking a bit more, and in this shake we can be stopped, and then things can move favorably afterwards, and this is terrible. Okay, I'm preparing a video for this weekend where I'm showing some stops yesterday due to this tight stop and entering and mistaking to find the entry. And then when I stopped to think and to adjust, I understood that maybe focusing on the absorptions and using a larger stop loss could work. Then I have some examples to show this. So let's see what's going to, let's see what we're going to have here. Just a second. So there's still few contracts, but we're seeing that is here in 9396 actually. Let me see. Oops, sorry. Oops, sorry. I have upwards the 93. Yesterday the 10 worked as well. 1011. 93 is a reference. Then 1011. And downwards, we've seen. Remember, I've mentioned about 83, 85. We have an exhaustion in 475. Okay, so this shows us that our first point have worked down here. It confirms what I was telling you before, that we should not anticipate our moves based on these points, but I should get them as reference and check. Have that in mind to define potential entries or exits especially. Let's see now. We have the 10, 11 here. And we have actually the value area high on 11. So we could see, we could find some resistance at the 10, 11 since it's the value area high. Okay, let's see the behavior. Then we have the pivot point at 18. The case of continuing upwards, we have the 18, actually the 15, the value at 11, I have pressing 15, 18, and 21. So let's see. Here we had the 10 as reference and the value area at 11. Let's see whether it's going to respect. But what we're seeing is it keeps shaking. It's hard doing anything. If you see, if we see, oops, I just realized it. There's a mistake here. Yes, I had the micro here in this third volumetric bar, and I need the E-mini. Now it seems to be in place. So far we are seeing the displacement here from 95 to 10. You see it's hard. I had this crazy moves, but so far we are seeing in this almost 15 points of displacement here in the volumetric bar. there were no significant absorptions or no significant moves that could lead us to any decision. Okay, maybe sometime we could be starting to see this absorption in the 10 here that maybe could become meaningful. We are seeing, look at here, but we just overcame the value area high and heading towards the pivot point. So let's see. In my perspective, I just need to let things work, and this this order of volume we're seeing here in the volumetric bar is not enough for me to drive to any decision. I wouldn't have been doing anything. I wouldn't have done anything so far. We would need to see more action, more intensity in each price. Yesterday there was an interesting absorption. There were interesting absorptions. I don't remember exactly what was the point, but 2,000, 3,000 contracts. And then we had a breakout, and then it turned back again. So in such a choppy condition, with this scenario, this volumetric bar so far does not show anything to me. Okay, the only info I could get here, it could be here around the 3902 zero before 03. 03 was a point I had noted before, but we've seen a kind of a struggle here. Then when it have been overcome, it moved 12 points. Okay, but so far this was the first relevant info I get, and we could say I would be looking to see if prices retrace and coming back here. We could try to see some defense of buyers here, and trading below this 02 could lead to a retest to this 38.95. Okay, up here we are seeing the 10 working. Buyers try to defend here in the 11. Okay, this absorption was interesting to see buyers, but you see that they defended here, but prices are below this defense. If we see it moving upwards and failing when trading, the case of trading below the 10 could lead to to a correction to the 2. We're seeing now it's failing to overcome the 12. Okay, we need to we need to stay tuned with this kind of indication. Okay, it reached the 12 kind of exhaustion there and lost the absorption, and now it's trading below seller's absorption. This could be a clue for sellers to keep putting pressure and see price here, but let's see. Things are totally undefined, but what we're seeing is that the 10, the region of the 10 is actually been relevant. 15 was another point I have noted. It also worked here. It overcame the 10 but stopped at the 15. In such a bearish condition, when we see an upward move and then it gets stuck, hard to go, hard to move, uh, at some point, it's not unusual to see the sellers winning the battle and then moving downwards. Look, just look here what I mentioned. 5 points. Look at the number of contracts. This is kind of candle we see during the night. Until next week, for a long time, until this week, we hadn't seen this. Prices shaking 4 points, 5 points. with such a few contracts. So this is again when I tell about adjusting the the setup, or the kind of setup, or the your tactics. It's guided to this. It's incredible how widely. Remember about the 9. Let's see if sellers will be able to put at until the 3, to push until the 3. It could be likely to see a defense here from 3 to 1, but let's see. It would be easier to talk about this if we had a range actually defined. We don't have this here. You see few contracts in every level. So this is not that good, but when we don't have clear ranges here and prices shaking, these big absorptions and aggressions we could take as reference. Let's see the 3. Let's see if it will lose the 3. They're putting pressure, the 2, exhaustion at 2, but it's hard to talk about exhaustion in these conditions. Oh, now it started absorbing. It seems to, we are seeing the defense. Let's see the if it will bounce, and until where it is gonna bounce. With such a few contracts, it's hard to trust an absorption, because we're seeing few contracts, those 10, 20, 30. Then sometimes when you see 10 or 7, this is not that meaningful, and it's hard to identify as actually an exhaustion. But you are seeing our reading using the volumetric bar is working. We understood that this was the clue that we could see some defense here. It actually happened, but buyers were not able to push price above the 5. So let's see, because trading below the 1, I would say that we could see the 85 tested. Okay, so far buyers were able to hold at the 2 here. Let's see if they will be able to put at least at the 10. 10 to 12 would be our reference now, and failing to overcome, or even failing to reach there, that it's kind of, we are seeing it's failing at the 5, it would kind of confirm the bearish perspective and increase the probability of speeding up towards 895 when losing the 0.1. Let's see. But what we're seeing is that prices are struggling to overcome the 5. Let's see if now it will going. Let's see here, the 10. 10, 12 would be the reference. It reached the 8 here. Uh, let's see. Sometimes I forget to looking at the chart, but it's helpful. So if you see here, let's see the 4,000 ticks. We overcame the value area, then lost it again. We were moving upwards and found a resistance in the region of the 5.8. Okay, if it if it fails here, if it actually fails here, then we could see the speed up downwards. I just seen kind of, we had this first this first line here. Now we are hold by this support line that now is working as a resistance. Let's see here, and here it's for me it's interesting to see we have this, but this is not in an aleatory region. We have here the value area. Okay, 10 was an important region before, and 11 is the value area. So when you start to see these regions, these important regions being confirmed, uh, I think that I usually consider that this increase the relevance, okay? So in this scenario, it seems, it looks, and I read that it's more bearish than bullish. We are seeing all this buyers suffering in the 8. They're trying suffering, and in such a choppy condition, when the other side, in this case, right, when the sellers, if at some point they take the lead, they could make a quick movement that can, in the same way, retrace quickly. So we should be alert when entering a trade, because it, did you see? We have the point of control right now here at the 425. Okay. Today, the relevant economic indicators have been already released. Let's see if it's going to succeed here, overcoming the 10. Buyers are putting pressure, but sellers absorb it. Failing now could be a bad signal. So it's been hard. I was telling about adjusting the the tactics. uh, it's for me, it's from my perspective, it's hard to consider my 2 points. For example, here entering a trade now, I would have to put the stop. It would be around here, but it's not that. It's really hard because it shakes. If, for example, I would considering that I would need to put here a stop above the 14, actually above it could be a 14, could be a 14, a 4 point, sorry, but actually here I'm above the 10, and if I start seeing absorptions here, this could be a problem, because could mean that this time we could see the breakout. Okay, it's kind of happening now. So it's too quick. It's too quick. Now we've seen that the 10 have been overcome and it's not trading below it. Then it would be a problem for such a kind of trade. It's the 11 has been just overcome, but did you see this reaction? I'm just showing this to see, to set up the perception during the trade, for example. But look, all these absorptions. This is not a good signal. Then, if I had entered, prices here should have quickly moved downwards. It could work, but these absorptions points me the opposite. Okay, it increased the risk of breaking up there after having used it so many times with resistance. So I would need to close here to be in line with uh, my strategy or my beliefs. I say I wouldn't wait to get stopped with a 4-point stop. So let's see if in this case the 10 will be actually the support for this new breakout there, new high. In this case, the 10 could work. Maybe the 13 here, but the 10 could work as a support. Hi, Tai. I've just seen your comment here. Thanks for joining us. But you see, after so many tries in the 10, the 10 have been overcome, and then we've seen buyers, sellers defending, but buyers absorbing. So this was the clue about the possible breakout. Okay, now we're right at the pivot point, and in 15 minutes moving average. So let's see how prices will behave here. So far we could note that 8 to 10, actually 9 to 12 is an important region, and we should be looking at. And now if we look here at the volume at price at Superdome, we could see the range. I would be considering this 12 here, okay, as the end of the range, 12.50. I'd be considering the end of the range. So in a possible downwards move, if I see prices finding support anywhere above the 13, I would, for me, it would be a better signal that it could be continuing upwards. Then, if in the case of entering this range and failing to overcome it again, then I think that we could be more likely to see a test in the lower end. So let's see. We are seeing now at the 15 kind of struggle here from 15, maybe 15, 17. Okay, let's see if buyers will be able to hold. This is something that in usual conditions I like trading. We have such a struggle we've seen there. Then we have a breakout, a correction, and in this case, buyers start buying. This is the kind of trade I like considering. It would have worked now. We are seeing this price ranking here around the 18. That is the 18. That is the, sorry for putting here, but just to check. 18 is the pivot point, 15, 18, and then 21 was another reference. From 18 to 21, I would consider the possibilities. We are seeing buyers trying, but sellers absorbing. A couple of minutes ago was not usual to see this kind of behavior here. So you see, I'm meaning about changing of behavior within days or periods or regions traded, but we are seeing within a session it changed. 30 minutes and it's changing. Now price is getting stuck in a 4 or 5 points range, and we're seeing more relevant quantity of contracts traded. The pivot point, as usual, it's usually a decision region. We frequently see good struggles around it, and it's by its essence, it can always expect something to happen around it, and buyers too active. So both in making aggressive orders and absorbing seller's defense. But look here, let's see this here. It's nice to see when we see in the tops a huge absorption. At the first point, it's difficult to know which side will win, but it's like to see this kind of good struggle. Let's see. We're seeing buyers pushing upwards, sellers absorbing, then sellers pushing downwards, and buyers absorbing. No, Aaron, I didn't. But by the way, you're in Pacific time. Where do you live? Did you see here? We have this region. Then we had the breakout, and it quickly, with few contracts, and it quickly turned it back. So we could see here maybe this kind of breakout. It should have continued. Let's see. Let's see here if they will find some support. Actually, from above the 12 is risk here. 10 to 12 would be the better. Let's see here. The 13 at least could be the a potential support. It was the region previously broken. In these conditions, many times this pullbacks works. It reached the 1425, then moved upwards again. But when we see such an absorption right there, it's kind of difficult to pass through. But we're seeing we had a kind of pullback here that failed to trade below the previous high and now trying to react. But if we see we have here in the 15 minutes two big green candles, but we are right at the moving average. But these two big green candles are really meaningful. Let's see if they will succeed in holding the drop here. We are seeing buyers actually defending the region, but you see that with the selling pressure, they're failing to overcome the 15. They're not being able to reach the 18, but at the same time, they are absorbing at the 14. So uh, it's a kind of undefined here, but if they are able to, if buyers are able to hold the move here, then it could speed up, overcome the 18 and speed up. But it's better when we see a rejection than when we see prices stuck this way in the support. And let's see. Buyers should be able to push above the 15. Otherwise, keeping inside. Yeah, Ty. Uh, not that I'm looking to hold, but I was curious about what's going to happen. But actually, I was thinking is that considering the 12, I thought that entering below the 12 and failing to hold at the 13, I would say that it would be more likely to head downwards to 0.3 than holding at the 10. I think that uh, considering we are in a downtrend and right in the middle of a range, I don't like trading the middle of the range. And so in this re-entry in ranges, I prefer to disregard any possible support I could be seen in between. And this was what happened at this time. Let's see if it will hold here at the two. Let's see. It should hold here because it's been highly traded. Did you see? It hold it in the 225 actually. Yeah. So this is another issue. I prefer to disregard when I see a big range. I prefer to disregard potential supports inside it. I prefer to look the condition right at the moment. So let's see. The same the same works for the two. Failing, we have a rejection here in the two. Okay, failing in the two could lead to a retest at the 10, but failing at the 5, we are seeing this absorption here. It means that buyers are really suffering to push price above the 5. Then, when it comes again to the 2, if the range is strong, it could work, making a counter trend here, but after having reached it, failing to reach the other side, stopping at the middle, and having an absorption, I understand that when reaching it again, increase the probability of the breakout. Okay, so, but anyway, I prefer, even in this condition, for many times not to trade, but ranges usually could be respected. The issue is that you maybe could need to increase your stop, but they could work. We're seeing that it reached the 9 again. So the 225, that is the bottom of the range, work it, and we are seeing it again at the 10. For my perspective, the problem I'm facing now is, look at here, from 10 to 12, actually, from 10 to 12, there's nothing. I would consider up here the 12, 13, okay, since the reduction in contracts are here in 13.5. Then to consider doing something up here, my reference is the 11, 11, 13, 12, 13. Back again to the 3, but failing at the 10, we could see, look here at the chart, the context. It's always important to see the context. We have a quick drop from top in the stick chart from top here, okay? Look here, we have a kind of shoulder head, but it failed in doing the shoulder. You've seen that we tried the neck here. We could have the neck here. We could have a shoulder at the 13, but it failed to even reach the 10. It failed at 9. So we are now kind of breaking this possible shoulder here. Well, um, so let's see the 902 here. Actually, this 900 here, we could say that is still within the region. So uh, it the region still worked. It actually ends here around the 99 or the 900, 99.5. Okay. But let's see. Now I understand that this 5 keeps being the reference. If we see in many tries to overcome and many tries failing to overcome the 5, increase the possibility of the breakout down here. Okay, it does not mean that I would now do something here, because overcoming the 5, 6 could lead to a quick move through towards the 12. But we need to keep getting these indications, not necessarily to trade, but to have better clues about what could happen when reaching the regions, the actually important regions. So far here could be maybe only an indication that we could use in the case of keep moving downwards. But we are seeing that buyers are actually defending here. Look the 1,000 contracts in almost each level here. Buyers are actually trying to defend the 0.3 region. So we are seeing this from 3 to 5, this is struggle. The VWAP is currently at 3908, 3907. Then at some point, but when is kind of tight this way, I prefer not to consider it. I prefer considering when I see a clear trend on it. But look here, the 5 again. Now sellers absorbing, buyers, sorry, I always making confusion. I want to say one and say the other. But are you seeing? We're in negative territory. We've tried to move upwards. Let's count this. Let's tell this story. We tried to move upwards. We reached the pivot point that is usually a decision region. Many tries were done. You see here in the 4-tick charts, this number of candles is quite significant. We have the breakout and fail there, and then prices turning down, and then disregarding the value area. Look this, how strong was this? 3 candles, 12,000 contracts here. Okay, this is meaningful, this kind of move. And now failing at the 6, the 5. So maybe we could say that this will be, at least in the for a while so far, and for a while this 5 could be the region of decision. It's been, we're seeing interest from both sides, absorptions from both of them, and aggressive orders from both. Another observation, another remark is we are seeing here the point of control. Point of control inherently is the region of most interest so far in the session. So I like using it as reference to tell the story, to count the story, but I prefer to avoid trading right around it because prices shakes, and if big players are not decided, I cannot enter, especially me cannot enter in such a struggle. We're seeing now the pressure here in the one. So as I've mentioned, it failed on 5. We're in a downtrend and failed in the middle of the range. This is a bearish signal. Just let's see if the 95, the 95 will be tested again. Okay. So just to recap, you see here we have the low at the 95 and we have the high at 22.5. So this we have lots of points actually, but this give us kind of clues to to where we should be looking. So we're seeing the range here was coming to the 900, 925. It's still being defended. You see sellers putting pressure, but buyers defending. So it does not mean it's been easy for sellers. Now we're seeing sellers absorbing in the 02, what is actually another indication of the bearish strength. Let's see if we'll see a kind of breakout here in the 998.50. Let's see the 9 here, 950 actually, but they're putting pressure. Buyers absorbing, okay? Buyers absorbing, strong absorption, imbalance, strong absorption. But if they're able to defend here, at least the 5 would be expected, but we're seeing they defend, but sellers putting pressure. Failing here, if buyers actually succeed in defending this region, they are doing so far a good job. Let's see how long sellers will, how many contracts, if they will have contracts to keep pushing. We cannot say anything. It's impossible to reach any conclusion, but defending here, we could see another try in the upper end of the range around the 12, 10 to 12 again, remembering that the 5 is in between, but the pressure is too strong here. But they already spent lots of contracts and didn't succeed in making the breakout. Now an exhaustion. After this size of absorptions here, we could consider this an exhaustion, even though the pressure is too far. But we see here 900, 500, 100, 80, 16. But it's too early to, we cannot act, we cannot I wouldn't enter a counter trend. I would need to see an increase in the buying intensity. But look here, we see 40 candles here after that absorption, and this kind of, there was an exhaustion and then another exhaustion. This is actually strong signal, but you see that sellers quickly reassumed the strength. But after this failure here, we could see a try at the 20 at the 0.5, and maybe they've been able to reach the 10 to 13, 10 to it's getting a bit messy here, but to 12 to 13, maybe 11 to 13, maybe we could consider. But before there is the 5 to 7, 5 to 6. Let's see here, we could draw this downtrend here. Let's see if they break here upwards. We could see maybe they trying to speed up, but remembering that here we have the 6 to 7, 5 to 7, and then here the 11, maybe 11 to, maybe here the 1250, 11, 1250. But in the case of failing again in the 905, it could reinforce the bearish perspective. We would have made a new low, not a new low, but a new but here we have something meaningful. We moved upwards, but failed in making a new low, failing to reach the 9.5. So this support here, the 900, 3900, it could be meaningful. Buyers were able to hold the move before previous low. Okay, this is something you should look at. So we just found the view up here. It worked as a resistance, but with such absorption and this big green candle, I understand that it could be more likely now to reach the 12, the 10 to 12 at least, then moving downwards. But let's see. We are always talking about likelihood, or so we need to sum up these indications. 5 could be obviously struggled since it is the point of control. But let's see if in the case of overcoming the 6 here, we would see the 12 being reached. Let's wait and see. I will stay here more couple of minutes to 10:30 maybe. Did you see now? Let's see the 12. This time we see the breakout that it's not been usual with, that it's been usual recently. Few contracts displacing, that it was not a big displacement, but look here. There was a breakout in the 5 and sellers absorb and buyers absorbing here. Oh, look, the huge aggressive order by sellers made, but sellers absorbed. This is meaningful. Look here. Look here, the blocks. Sellers so trying to defend. So this absorption is that buyers were able to absorb all that move, and then let's see here the 10 to 12. I think that it would be, or not I think, but as per what I consider, I usually see, and what we've seen, it would be hard to pass through the 12 and make a new high, or to pass through the 12 and reach the 18. We could see a bounce here, but let's see. But I was telling in the beginning of transmission about absorptions. This is meaningful. This is something you should be looking at. We've seen a breakout. The attacked side tried to defend, and the guys in the attack absorbed. But we're seeing they failed to reach the 10. Okay, let's take as reference 10 to 12. But we failed to reach the 10. Let's see. The value area is in the 11, so 10 to, actually 10 to 12, because I'm telling, if you see here, the range goes a bit over the 12 to the 13, but we have this green here, strong absorptions in the 12, and when it overcame the 12, then we've seen sellers aggressions being absorbed. So overcoming the 12, then it could lead to the continuity of the move, but failing before it, failing at the, maybe at the 10. Look at here, the absorptions, the buyer's absorptions here. Failing to overcome, consistently overcome the 10 could be a signal, but I wouldn't be doing anything, because actually the range would go at least the 12. Let's see if maybe it could be an absorption, an exhaustion here, but hard to consider it in current conditions. Let's see, we just had 10. If we see buyers coming there and make it 15, 20, it would be few. No, you're seeing they're putting pressure. We are right at the value area, high. A rejection there. Let's see if it's going to move up again. We're seeing that it didn't reach the 12, okay? At the same time, sellers try to defend, buyers absorbed in the 9. So we couldn't say that it wouldn't be, the 12 couldn't be overcome now, because we're seeing buyers not only making pressure here, but also absorbing in the 9. But let's see, reaching the 13 and failing around it, an exhaustion around the 13 to 14, between 13 and 14, an exhaustion there could mean a weakness. So it's interesting, because I thought that I thought that this absorption down here could lead to a test in the other end. It was what happened. And now what we are trying to see is if we'll get indications about the breakout, or if it will. We're seeing here these two candles. We have two highs, 1150. The high of the two candles were in the 1150. We're seeing it's been difficult to overcome here. We're seeing action from both sides. Buyers putting pressure over there and absorbing selling pressure down here. Let's see. Did you see here? Buyers made a huge aggression, sellers absorbed. It stopped on the 1450. Let's see the 12. 12. For example, in this situation, we could see maybe buyers, oh, but it's too strong, okay? We could see buyers succeeding. Yeah, they succeeded, okay? Because we just moved upwards. So now, maybe this, let's see if you see any absorption down here above the 12. If so, we could see a new try to the 18, but let's see. Let's see if to overcome the 12. Now, do you see sellers absorbing here? They're making a pullback here. Let's see if it will actually succeed as a pullback. But failing to overcome the 14, if we see pressure here in the 11, you see the 12, it's not becoming, it's not being easy. It's not being easy. So now, if you consider here this 12 and maybe 15 could be an alternative, and failing here, we could see prices trying to head downwards again. We could see prices trying to head downwards again to the lower limit of the range around the 900 again. Look here, from 9 to 12 after failing the 14. Buyer's life is not being easy here. Let's see. It's better after a breakout. It's better to see a pullback with a rejection to the continuity. It's not interesting when you see prices getting stuck again in the region. It's not that interesting. Let's see. Yeah, actually, Aaron, this could be. It's not that well configured, but it could be the other shoulder, isn't it? It was close to there, but well, guys, just seen it's 11:35. I'm finishing here. Hope you have enjoyed. I intend to carry out another one on next Tuesday. So take care. We are living crazy moments, and let's wait and see what's coming next. Markets are really stressed, and we need to be warned. We need to be alert because things are actually in a region risky region. Okay, Aaron, thanks for joining as usual. I'm not sure if Ty is still there. Thanks for being here. Good to see you guys. Hope you have enjoyed. Leave your like when watching, and thank you so much. Okay, bye guys. Bye, Aaron.